Hello everyone, thanks for joining me for another round in the Challenge Circuit Design Contest series. I'm playing Old Forge Golf Club today by Bennyk315. Benny's an interesting designer that I've kind of felt a bit of a bond with ever since we both pulled Turkey in the 2K21 um, National Treasure Design Contest. And interestingly enough, my course from that contest kind of had similar vibes to this opening tee shot. But that's enough about me. Let's zoom out and take a look at what we've got going here. A really interesting plot, kind of that low, swampy wetlands sort of vibe, perhaps. Um, he's gone for the less than 10 meters of elevation change across the whole plot. I think he's manipulated the tees, and we've got a short par three in there as his contest elements. But the routing looks interesting and varied. Got holes going in various different directions. A lot of kind of waterside real estate used quite nicely. And also, as a console player, he's sunk a lot of time into this planting. Um, a lot of grass, a lot of different grasses planted really heavily, but it looks like that was working really nicely to create a very cool environment. Um, Particularly like this creek coming in as well, and yeah, a lot of the waterways. So on with the round. First hole we've got um, kind of trouble around driver, also trouble around the layup area. So we're kind of invited to hit driver off the first shot of the day, because we don't really want to be laying up way back here. That leaves way too long in for our second shot. But we're pretty much forced to hit a good shot and find the fairway. The fairway itself kind of flows into the edge of these bunkers in places, which is a good way of kind of increasing the size of the footprint of some of the bunkers, making them play bigger than they appear. Not the best drive, a little bit of a hook, but found the fairway at least, and hopefully a chance to find the green. A little bit of a side hill lie. I'm not sure, other than a bit of a camber to the fairway in the middle, I'm not sure there's a great deal of advantage one side or the other. Um, but I don't mind that for a first hole. Just kind of a question of execution to get you warmed up for your day. Um, and a chance for a birdie. A little bit snaky, but not too much in it, I don't think. And yeah, it drops. So lovely start. One under through one. Let's see if we can continue. So a shorter par four, second hole. I will say that the fairway, where it kind of leaks into the bunkers there and short left, that kind of pointy bit is a little bit awkward. Um, I don't really see how that's getting cut in real life. That's making life difficult for the green staff. Um, but we have a kind of interesting one. Again, the fairway running our ball into the bunkers here. Again, sort of increasing their footprint without making them too big. And yeah, kind of chaotic mess of bunkers down this right side. We don't want to be missing right. Maybe we could just let the water be the penalty there. A little bit more kind of leaning into the video game nature of things. Um, Obviously, putting it in the water is a lot more punishing, but maybe a miss like that in the water is a little bit too harsh. So yeah, don't hate that. That seems like a fair punishment for not the best drive. Trying to get a little bit greedy perhaps and leave myself a short pitch in, and didn't pull it off. Played out to the middle of the green and left myself not too much. Not the not the most makeable putt, but I would like to think I would have done better than that. Um, Hopefully roll this in and stay at one under. Just about, just caught the lip. And on to the first par five of the day. This is an interesting hole because obviously the further left we go, the better angle we get into this green, especially if the pin's over on the right by this bunker in front of the right portion of the green. Further right we go off the tee, the safer the drive is. Doesn't make too much of a difference to this pin, I don't think. In fact, maybe slightly beneficial with more of a backstop rather than shooting up all the way to the middle of the green. But to other pins, we probably want to be further left. As I hit a bit of a hook, I'm going to aim down this side, let the wind and let the draw bring the ball back. And a little bit of a hog's back, kicking the ball further right. So you can imagine that to a pin in here somewhere, this is less than ideal. I'd rather be coming in from this way. And the hog's back is quite a good way to kind of accentuate that, kind of picking your side of the fairway. Although you do have to be careful with like a shot that lands in the middle of the fairway bouncing off into the rough. If you kind of overdo the slope, it's a sort of delicate balancing act. But that I can definitely see that being nice eagle. I can definitely see that being more of a difficult kind of decision, and more of a test of execution depending on where the pin is. Now we've got a nice short par 3. This is our less than 125-yard hole. Looks really nice. I can imagine that from the golfer's perspective, if we don't have a character blocking half of the screen, yeah, really nice view, bunkering, just kind of frames the green nicely, and a short hole, which is always a bit exciting for golfers. And that's a pretty good shot. There we go. That's exactly why they're exciting. Chance to put one close and make another birdie. So really nice hole location, sitting on the edge of the water again. And then we play back kind of inland on the 5th. I will say, let's have a look. The other tee is further back right. So I'm not really sure how much mileage there is in this fairway. Obviously, if we're hitting driver, we're running out of fairway. So we'd be laying up with 3-wood, but we might as well lay up with 3-wood here. We get a slightly better angle into the green, I suppose. But it's probably a slightly harder drive than playing down here. I feel like I'm just hitting driver. Maybe with the wind, I've got to be concerned about rolling too far. But the row of bunkers running through the middle of the fairway does look nice. Just not sure there's that much use in that sort of left portion of the fairway. I could be wrong, but that's a pretty good drive. Just slightly overcooked it, in fact, and left myself a little close to the green, so I had to take a bit off the pitch, which I'm not very good at, and kind of duffed it. So now I'm just looking at making up and down. So maybe I should have played down the left and left myself a full shot in, but we make up par, so no harm, no foul. Just taking 3 to get down from 65 yards is, I wish I could do that in real life. So interestingly, I'm playing off the longer set of tees, but I've noticed that so far I've actually been playing forward on pretty much every hole. So I imagine he might have pulled a similar trick to what Brendan did on Woodmere Forest, where the front 9, one set of tees is longer, and then on the back 9 the other set is longer. Really like just a little note for the planting over here. Just a really nice natural environment that just looks like a fun place to play golf in. Another lob wedge in. So maybe we've had kind of more than our fair share of short par 4s early. That's got much luckier than it deserved. That's got incredibly lucky. That was not a great shot, and the slope has helped me out. And I'd like to claim I was playing for that, but I think you'd all see right through me if I tried to make that claim. Another kind of shorter par 4, just over 400 yards. Although we've got a bit more of a question here. Do we hit driver? Do we lay back? Hitting hybrid, we kind of take a lot of the trouble out of play. The green looks like it's probably fairly accessible from kind of any distance, so I don't mind leaving myself kind of a full wedge as opposed to a pitch. So just going to hit a hybrid. And have I overcooked that? Well, I thought I might have played safe and still got it wrong. So yeah, I feel like I've now, on the 7th hole, I feel like I've hit kind of far more lob wedges and pitches than would be expected. So maybe the balance of hole length is kind of slightly off, but I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun and definitely feel like there's scoring opportunities at 5 under through 7 with missing a couple of chances as well. There definitely are scores to be had. Sort of between clubs here on a green that kind of well, this this land movement mounding is going to take my ball down off the back of the green, but I don't want to leave it up here. So interesting kind of question of where I'm going with this shot. I'm going to try and maybe take just a little bit off it. It's difficult to do a front to back green because it obscures a lot of. You're not going to be able to see a lot of the putting surface from where you're approaching. But just narrowly missing the green and another chip in. So not fully punished. Maybe there could have been more. This might be a little bit gimmicky, but if we go back and have a quick look at it, maybe worth considering that kind of extended fringe trick to kind of take the ball further down into like a collection area rather than let the ball settle quite close to the edge of green. I often point that out about light rough surrounding the green. You kind of can miss the green and your ball gets held up right on the edge of it. Maybe worth considering using another even shorter cut than the fairway to kind of take balls away there, because that's definitely not the way that that should be encouraged to play that hole and make birdie. Another short pitch in. I'm going to hit a flop as my ability to hit partial pitches is not going well today. So not the most realistic way of approaching that green site, but do what I've got to try and make a score. And we'll take a quick look at the clubhouse as well. I like the kind of attention to detail with the steps and the curbs and everything. And yeah, it's functional. It looks nice. It's not the flashiest one I've seen around, but a nice kind of area that hasn't been overdone. Nice little kind of. This could be like a marshal's house or something, couldn't it? Maybe a halfway hut. There's another one over on the other side, so yeah. And a chance for a pretty good front nine here if I roll this in. Not quite, didn't really give it a chance. But make the par again. And I think that's a 29 front nine. I feel like that was par 35. Another shortish mid-length par 4, but we're playing into the wind. We're playing back towards the city. Similar to the first hole where we've got trouble kind of around everything leading up to the drive, so we kind of just want to hit driver, especially if the pin's at the back. Kind of want to take as much distance out of the hole as possible, and especially into the wind. Nice view. Really like the dense planting down the left. Really strongly defining the boundary of the course there. And I've sprayed it out to the right, just about kept in play. So very helpful course so far, given me a lot of margin for error and helped out a lot of my poor shots. And I've sprayed that one out as well, but that's drawing back in nicely. And pin high, and a chance for another birdie. Hey, it drops. So, yeah, 29 on the front nine, and start back nine with a birdie. Really enjoying the environment. Another shortish par 3. I suppose, depending on where the pin is, but worth noting, this is back-to-back front pins. Possibly that's playing into feeling like we've had a lot of shorter holes as well. I've had like a preponderance of front pins, I feel, if I look back on the round. But this is the first time I've actually really noticed it, so maybe it hasn't been that egregious. I'm really enjoying these views back across the whole plot. Yeah, can't compliment this environment highly enough, especially considering it's done on console. Like that's a stunning view of just a natural looking golf course, really good looking place to play. And we have a long par 5, and I think this is one he said that was off the whites. It's not quite sub 550, but it is a 2-shot hole. But then it's more likely a 3-shot hole off the greens, which is interesting. Makes the hole play differently. depending on the day, depending on the setup. Um, yeah, don't want to miss left. Maybe try and exaggerate the kind of layering of the bunkers a bit more. Does look like a little bit of a mess. When we could have like a nice these bunkers that are actually long of the green uh, could look like they're sitting just over the shoulder of these bunkers, protecting the drive. I suppose they sort of do, but it might be nice if we had a little bit more uh, definition to that kind of aspect. I'm not sure I can get home in two here, especially kind of slightly into the wind. So the question is, where do we want to lay up? And if we put it over the creek, over the bunker down here, we get a better angle in. Although we do have a fairly helpful slope for this pin if we lay up this side. I think I'm going to take the risky shot on and try and then just chip one down the length of the green. Haven't hit it great, but got away with it. And can hopefully, I was hoping to be a little bit closer and I could hit a bump and run, but we'll be a bit cheesy and hit another flop shot for no reason from 50 yards. And I'm going to need that slope to help me. Not terrible. Chance for a birdie. And another one drops. So it's going very well so far. Surprisingly well. Same tee for both. So this hole's going to play pretty similarly for all rounds, but it is a tiny green. So obviously the question is, do we take this on and try and launch it over to the second fairway and have a short shot into the small green, or do we lay up? And I feel like this green is kind of going to require a shot from the fairway. So I'm going to play back and try and leave myself a wedge in. I think one of the things I really like about this environment is the kind of definition between um, the kind of wild native areas and this nice sort of maintained grass. Even the heavy rough kind of looks like it's maintained, and then this is just left for nature to do its thing. And it's a really cool look. Uh, Provides, yeah, like I said, nice kind of crisp definition. That's not the best shot I've ever hit. Needs to get lucky and nearly. Didn't quite fully get away with it, but I'm not going to make three like this, am I? Or not if I hit that swing path. That's probably about as close to an air shot as you can get in the game. Nice view of the city again across the waterway. I think that's been a real strength of this course. A lot of lovely views. And really interesting green here as well. I worry that a pin up here might be a little bit difficult to access, given that we're hitting 4-iron in. Or maybe we play off the other tee for that as a recommended setup. Might be a little bit too inaccessible for kind of CC level, but I am going pretty well so far. So the course has got to kind of provide some challenges somewhere. I like the planting of this rock wall as well. Very, very dense rock work that, yeah, looks really nice. That's a bit bigger than I expected. Just found the right level and an outside chance of making a two, perhaps. Not as far away as I thought it might be. But yeah, I can see that that hole possibly plays significantly easier to some pins and much harder to others. So again, a nice, interesting mix. I think that's one of the strengths of using the manipulated tee sets, that we can kind of provide a bit more variety and make a bit more interest across the 4 rounds. Right, so we don't want to run out into this bunker, which is a very real possibility. So I want to kind of play down the left. The wind will push me back, but then I'm probably going to hit that slightly fast draw. So I think aiming here is all right, and then we hopefully get a chance of going for it in two. Yeah, that's about as good as I could hope for. Middle of the fairway, in fact. And between clubs, perhaps. Possibly try and take a little bit off this and use that slope at the back to catch it. Side hill lie, bit of crosswind, probably going to sort of counteract each other. And that's a pretty good shot. That's a very good shot. That's exactly what I was trying to do. And it deserves making this, doesn't it? Oh, let's go and check out the waterfall. Nice view in the background. No, a bit more here. Yeah, that's a nice little kind of hidden attention to detail bit as well. Something I hadn't really considered on this course, being quite flat. Kind of the movement of the water. But second eagle of the day. I deserved it for that second shot, I feel. That was played very well. Here we go. This is a hole that he mentioned on the forum. So from the white tees, it's potentially drivable. Obviously, from these green tees, it very much is not, which is interesting because it's playing completely differently. We kind of got the question of, do we lay up back here, or do we take on the risky drive? And I suppose, in a way, the safer we play it down the right to get away from this creek, the more we're bringing this into play, the more aggressive, the further we've got to carry it to get over there to leave perhaps a better angle into the green. So this is a really nicely done hole. Possibly feels like a bit of a shame that we'd only get that 2 out of 4 rounds on tour, but maybe it's quite fun as a drivable hole as well. It's left us a drop zone by the looks of things. Quite generous. Ooh, a little bit slow, but got away with it. Found the middle of the fairway again. Wind helping me out a lot with the distance on that drive. And let's try and throw another dart. A bit quick. Yeah, helpful green once more. Again, probably better than I deserved. We've had a healthy dose of luck in this round. Hit a couple of good shots though, and then I go and do that. So at least I made the important one for eagle on the previous hole. Save par. And we can finish birdie eagle for a 59. So that's fun. We're crossing the water again. Something I suppose we're not directly crossing it. Oh, we have that footpath that means that we can just walk around it. So that's something I tend to try and avoid in my designs, is kind of crossing over and back over, especially the same water. But that's kind of a little. It's not a trick, is it? It's not. We're not kind of gaming the system. We're just legitimately going around the water. But we have like a kind of a culvert here as well. So yeah, maybe a bit of like this feeding into an underground waterway to get us in to the pond on the other side. So yeah, really, again, attention to detail, a really strong part of this course, and I think it's fantastic. It's definitely the effort that's been put in is well worth it. Oh no, run away from me, put it off the green. So I think the dream of a 59 is just about out the window, but we can still go bogey free with holding that 507-yard par five to finish. So real exciting risk reward hole potentially to finish the round. We've got a bit of like an Augusta vibe there, haven't we, with the fairway trickling all the way down into the water if we come up short. Edge of the green banks away from us a bit to this pin position. I'd possibly look at making the fairway a little bit wider, coming over how much we're biting off. But then again, I suppose if we're doing that, maybe we have to make the layup area. I feel like if the hole is how it is now, maybe the layup area should be a bit bigger, because I don't really want to hit a 4-iron back here for safety and kind of completely nullify the chance of going for the green in two. Because I might as well go for it here, as long as I miss the water. I've got a chance, I suppose. Because even if I'm in the rough, like I'm going to be, I can just go and probably not taking this on out of the rough, unless I really needed to in the scenario of the tournament that I'd be in. So I'm just laying up here, which is pretty much where I'd be laying up if I hit kind of a 4-iron off the tee. So there's kind of, other than putting it in the water, obviously, there's not a great deal of um, downside to hitting the aggressive drive, which is a potential bit of difficulty in designing par fives. It's hard to make the risk reward balanced, because obviously everyone is going to play the aggressive shot, or almost everyone, and it's hard to punish them without getting too much water in play. But unfortunately, the 59 dream kind of died. But a really fun round, really enjoyable course. Um, yeah, had a great time around it. Really like the environment. That's definitely, I've mentioned it a few times, but that is a definite strong point of this plot. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it plays off the other set of tees. Slightly shorter, 200 yards shorter off the whites. Um, so maybe a bit more scoreable, but I can't complain going round 10 under. And I feel like that would be good enough to make the cut at least. So thank you very much, Benny, for the round. Thank you for the course. Really enjoyed it. Um, Looking forward to seeing more from you. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video and maybe learned something from it. If there's anything else you'd like to see from me, feel free to let me know in the comments. And hopefully, you can join me in another video or a stream next time. Um, Hope you have a great day, everyone. Thanks for joining me. But until then, that's all from me. So bye for now.